Things are reaching the boiling point down at dear old Abominable Manor. For last time, you may recall, Boris Badenov made a deadly arrangement with the crankcase nephews.
It's time for a change of Earl.
Resourceful as ever, Boris and Natasha disguise themselves as English policemen.
You may be a Bobby, but she certainly isn't.
No. Show us your bobby pin, Natasha.
See, darling, 20 years on force.
Secure in the belief that they were under police protection, Rocky and Bullwinkle allowed themselves to be placed in a closet.
Well, at least we'll be safe in here.
Nothing could have been further from the truth, for Boris had given them a radio for company, a radio booby-trapped with TNT.
That's bobby trap.
Well, whatever it was, that radio would heat up and then...
Say, I bet we're just in time to catch the English sweepstakes.
And the horses are coming into the home stretch with mother-in-law in the lead.
Mother-in-law, I got money on that nag.
Mother-in-law is still in front. They're heading for the finish line, and it's...
I can't take it, Doc. It's just too exciting.
That fool moose turned it off.
No, Boris, don't go in there.
And at the wire, it was Adam's apple by a neck.
Boris, you're smiling?
Sure, I had him to place.
Well, Mr. Executioner, your first attempt was an abysmal failure.
And it didn't work either. But now comes my hotsy-totsy it worked on Trotsky plan. Over here we got dish of macadamia nuts. Very salty. Now, Moose eats nuts. Moose gets thirsty. Moose goes to kitchen, drinks 50 glasses water, gets bellyache. Squirrel phones drugstore for bellyache pills. Delivery boy races up driveway on motor scooter with pills. But he rolls overtake, put there by yours truly, and gets flat. While boy changes tire, I change pills to macadamia nuts. Moose eats more thinking they are pills. And gets such big bellyache he needs doctor. I come in dressed as sturgeon and operate immediately. Now comes best part. Moose does not pull through.
Oh, Boris, darling, you got best twisted mind in the whole world.
I do the best I can with the tools I got.
Running upstairs, Boris quickly entered the room where Rocky and Bullwinkle were sitting and anxiously awaited the right moment to put his plan into effect.
Gee, I sure would like some macadamia nuts.
This was the right moment.
Oh, I'm in luck. Here is a whole bowl full right in my lap.
Better not eat too many, Bullwinkle. They'll make you thirsty.
But unable to resist, the nut-hungry moose downed them all in one fell swoop.
My, I am thirsty.
The evil plan was progressing perfectly. Bullwinkle went into the kitchen and promptly drank 49 glasses of water.
Here, make it an even 50.
Oh, thank you. Oh!
Bullwinkle, what's the matter?
I got a abominable pain.
Where?
In my tummy.
Reacting instantly, Rocky put in a call to the drugstore. Within 5 minutes, a delivery boy was racing up the driveway when, just as Boris had predicted, the boy changed his tire.
And I changed the pills.
Sure enough, Bullwinkle swallowed the nuts, thinking they were pills.
Now how do you feel?
Oh, I feel much better. Call the doctor.
And here I am.
Are you a doctor?
What do you think I am, an exterminator? Don't answer that. I got to operate.
And before he knew what was happening, Bullwinkle found himself on an operating table while Rocky nervously paced the corridor outside. Where will it all lead? We'll learn the answer in You've Got Me in Stitches or Suit Yourself.
And now it's time for...
Time for the dancing fool, Bullwinkle.
Again? And now for one of our special fairy tales.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, in a castle high on a hill, lived a rather peculiar king and his beautiful but unmarried daughter. The knights of the kingdom were always seeking the daughter's hand in marriage, which annoyed the king very much. So he consulted with the royal contractor and ordered him to build a mountain of glass. That's right, smooth, shiny glass. Then, with a derrick, he had his daughter hoisted carefully into the air and placed on top of the glass mountain with a golden apple in her hand. Any suitor who could get to the top would gain the hand of the princess and the golden apple. But let's face it, that was going to be a pretty impossible thing to do. But our story is about an enchanted frog, remember? This frog's name was Filbert, and he lived with his mother and brother, Frank, in the forest. Every evening, all the animals would come to hear the frogs sing their song.
There's a little of the frog in all of us, in all of us, in all of us. There's a little of the frog in all of us, no matter who you be.
My, they were a very happy family, until one day when Filbert started to grow. He grew, and he grew, and he grew, until he was the world's only 5'8" frog.
But this means I'm not a frog at all, but an enchanted prince. I'm just afraid you'll have to carry on as a duet instead of a trio, for I must seek my fortune in the outside world. You do understand, don't you, Mama? I am an enchanted prince.
You're a big fat frog who has grown too big for his pond, that's what you are. It's a frog-eat-frog existence in the outside world, Filbert.
Oh, what do you know about it, Mama? After all, you're just a frog. You don't understand royalty.
And so Filbert made his way to the outside world.
Pardon me.
Oh, my goodness, a 5'8" frog.
But I'm not a frog. I'm an enchanted prince. Just because I'm green all over and...
And so, with a brand new suit of clothes, Filbert continued on his way. All this time, the princess had been sitting patiently at the top of a mountain of glass. She still had plenty of suitors, but the mountain was as slippery as ice, remember? And getting to the top was a difficult task indeed. In fact, there were those who claimed it was well nigh impossible. Still, a princess and a golden apple aren't to be sneezed at, so the suitors kept on trying. But they really weren't very good at it.
That king is a nut. It just can't be done.
Oh, I don't know.
Who are you, stranger? And what are you hiding with that false face?
This isn't a false face. It's my face.
Nonsense! You're up to something. After him, men!
And the knights chased Filbert around the mountain, first clockwise, then counterclockwise, then both ways at once. There was nowhere to go but up. So up Filbert went.
Oh, brave prince, at last you've come. Now I can leave this cold mountain of glass. Remove your false face so that I might see the hero who rescued me. What's that on with, glue?
But, fair lady, this is my real face.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
My father's a nut. He has me sit up here in all kinds of weather, waiting for what? Some frog-faced knight. You can have the golden apple, but I'm leaving.
And the princess leaped off the mountain of glass and fell directly into the arms of the royal contractor who'd been waiting for just this chance. The happy pair ran off to get married. When the king saw what had happened, he was furious. Not only had a mere frog conquered his mountain of glass, but his daughter had run off with a commoner.
I want that frog shot at sunrise.
Uh-oh.
So poor Filbert was sent to the king's dungeon to await the firing squad.
Oh dear, this is a frog-eat-frog world.
He thought of those happy days when he was just a plain frog, sitting in the sun, playing, singing, jumping.
Jumping! That's it!
The next morning, at sunrise, Filbert was led out to the wall.
Ready! Aim! Fire! By George, men, we obliterated him. There's nothing left of him but his blinking clothes.
Meanwhile, back at the forest, Filbert's mother and brother were waiting sadly. Suddenly, they heard a familiar sound that came closer and closer.
That's Filbert!
Hiya, Mom!
So, Filbert found it was really better to be a big frog in a small pond than a small frog on a big mountain. And besides, who can eat golden apples?
Mr. Know-It-All.
Hi, racketeers everywhere. Today our subject is how to play winning tennis. The first thing to do on the court is to establish who is the master by using your pulverizing, non-returnable serve, like this. Whoop.
Okay, Okay, let's stop kidding around and play tennis.
And here you have my next example. Build up your opponent's false confidence at the start of the game. Then proceed to beat him with an easy lob.
My point.
I wasn't ready! Another way to ruin your opponent's composure is to switch rackets with him. Playing with an unfamiliar racket, he will be sure to lose the game.
Is we going to play or ain't?
One moment, sir. I'm pretty sure you have my racket. I insist that we trade.
Anything you say, buddy. Service.
Oof. Now, friends, comes the one surefire way to beat your opponent. You pretend that you're injured. This makes him feel sorry for you, and he'll start to play badly.
Oh! Well, I think that's game and set. So long, lame brain.
Gee, Mr. Know-It-all, it didn't work to pretend you were injured.
Who's pretending?
And you call that how to play winning tennis?
Of course. He won, didn't he?
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat. See? Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! Wrong hat.
And now it's time to meet Mr. Peabody.
Hello again, Peabody here. Sherman and I are on our way into the past, as usual, and today's journey should be an exciting one.
What shall I set the way back for, Mr. Peabody?
Date-wise, Sherman set it for July 14th, 1865.
And the place?
A steep peak in the Alps, 14,780 feet high. It is called the Matterhorn, and we shall be there when it is conquered by Lord Francis Douglas. It was a short journey, and a cold one. Before we could catch our breath, we were standing with Lord Douglas and his party in the town of Zermatt. Towering over us was the mighty Matterhorn.
Oh, this infernal delay has worn my nerves to a frazzle.
Are you ready to make your ascent, Lord Douglas?
Have been, you know, since 3 this morning.
Why are you waiting?
Because no one has said go.
You mean you and your men have been standing here all that time waiting for somebody to say go?
Yes, I suppose that does sound a trifle odd to you.
Sherman, do Lord Douglas a favor and say go.
I'd be glad to, Mr. Peabody. Go.
Underway at last, the Douglas party lost no time in climbing. We followed their progress with a spyglass and were startled 5 minutes later to see they were already halfway up.
That must be some kind of record.
Yes, it would be, if it were Lord Douglas.
Huh?
Look again, Sherman. You'll see that Lord Douglas is in a race, for those climbers halfway up are a party made up of Italians.
How can you be sure?
Look closely, my boy, and you'll see.
I don't see anything different about them except their snowshoes.
That's it, Sherman. Those snowshoes are pizzas. Suddenly the door of our chalet burst open, and in stumbled one of Lord Douglas's guides. Lord Douglas is doomed! Before he could elaborate, the guide collapsed.
What do you suppose he meant, Mr. Peabody?
Only one way to find out, Sherman. We must scale the Matterhorn ourselves. Well, the climb was a simple one for Sherman and me, due to the fact that we lived in my penthouse apartment, you know. And for exercise, we would scorn the use of the elevator every so often and use the stairs. Well, we reached Lord Douglas's camp in no time at all.
And I say we turn back.
But you can't let the Italians beat us, old boy.
It isn't the Italians, old man. It's
It's what, Lord Douglas?
the abdominal snowman.
The who?
A creature who inhabits snow-covered mountains, Sherman, and throws snowballs at people. My words were followed by a bombardment of the aforementioned objects.
How the devil can I conquer the Matterhorn with a snowball in my face?
Sherman, being all boy and a yard wide, was all for sending up a bombardment of his own. I had other ideas, though, and set the party to constructing 3 snowmen of our own.
This sure is fun, Mr. Peabody.
And a half hour later, we were rid of the abdominal snowman and free to resume the climb, for under my direction, we had erected a bridge game consisting of 3 snowmen, a table, a pack of cards, and 4 chairs. It wasn't long before our attacker joined the game. And if I knew bridge, this game would last a long time.
By George, that was positively wizard. onward!
The ascent continued, and although no one voiced it out loud, each man harbored a fear the Italians would reach the summit first. Unfortunately, as we rounded a bend, we found the Italians had run into bad luck and were quitting.
It's all his fault, Luigi here. I'm telling him once, I'm telling him 1,000 times. Last 100 feet to the top, you gotta climb with rope. What does he bring? Spaghetti.
And the meatballs.
We'd give you some of our rope, old boy, but we don't have any. I guess we can't get to the top either. Oh, that's too bad. Tell you what, you can have a nice dish of hot spaghetti.
The spaghetti gave me an idea. I promptly tied the ends together and doused the whole thing in snow. The spaghetti hardened and was as good as the strongest rope, if not better. Lord Douglas, Sherman, and I were the only ones willing to scale the summit with spaghetti, and so while the others watched, we made a final assault. The spaghetti held up, and it wasn't long before the three of us were standing on the top of the Matterhorn. Warmed by the climb, Lord Douglas removed his fur parka and hung it over a scrawny tree. I'll give you 3 guesses, Sherman, as to what type of tree that is.
Pine?
No.
Oak?
No.
I give up, Mr. Peabody. What kind of tree is it?
My boy, that is a Douglas fir.
You've got to give Boris Badenoff credit. When he sets out to kill a moose, he does it like no one else. For as you no doubt will recall, he placed an innocent dish of macadamia nuts on Bullwinkle's lap.
Well, what have we here?
You eat those and they'll make you thirsty.
Truer words were never spoken. Bullwinkle drank 49 glasses of water.
And one for the road.
Of course, that much H2O is bound to produce a tummy ache.
Hello, drugstore. Send over some bellyache pills.
It was all part of Boris's mad plan. The delivery boy got a flat tire. Badenoff switched the pills to more macadamia nuts, and you guessed it, Bullwinkle got a bigger bellyache than ever.
Hello there, Dr. Kildarovich at your disservice.
I'm glad you're here, Doctor. Bullwinkle's sick.
You just finding out?
The culmination of the evil scheme was to operate on the moose and not have him pull through.
You got everything, Dr. Darling.
Let me see. Paper clips, glue is all here.
And with that, Boris proceeded to go to work. However, the fuse box, in abominable manner, was in an advanced state of disrepair, and...
Hey, what gives with lights?
You want flashlight?
What for? Operation is going to be failure anyway.
1 hour later, the exhausted surgeon emerged from the operating theater.
Congratulations, Squirrel. You are proud father of a dead moose.
What? But you told me he'd be fine.
Moose is fine. Finally dead.
Pardon me, Doctor. I'm sorry I was delayed.
Oh, think nothing of it.
Bullwinkle!
Moose!
There's a J in there. Bullwinkle J Moose.
But the doctor said you were dead.
Well, there must be some mistake, I think. You see, I heard the nurse ask for a flashlight, and so I went out in search of one. All I found, though, was this luau torch.
Well, if that ain't you on the table in there, who...
Congratulations, Boris. You are first doctor to ever remove appendix from suit of armor.
Well, at least it's not total loss.
More determined than ever, Boris pulled out all the stops. He booby-trapped the entire second floor, put poison in the drinking water, and even wrote a nasty letter.
How many U's in moose?
Let me see. Moose. M-U-S-E. 2.
But it was all to no avail. The booby-traps misfired. The poison only helped to purify the water. And the nasty letter was delivered to the wrong moose.
Boys, I got proposition for you. I pay you, you kill moose.
Dash it all, old man. I thought you were an expert.
I am at not killing moose.
You know, we really don't have to kill him.
What do you mean?
Well, the will clearly stipulates the moose stay inside the house for 1 week.
You mean if moose goes outside the house, you get £1 million note?
Of course. All you have to do is lure him out, take a picture of him, and...
Natasha, get my brownie.
Cookie?
Camera!
I think I'll get some air, Rock.
You better not, Bullwinkle. You're supposed to stay inside for 1 week.
Oh, thinky foo.
Oh, I think I'll go upstairs and take a nap.
So saying, Rocky departed, leaving Bullwinkle alone, but not for long.
Quick, Only 30 seconds left to play. We got to make touchdown or we lose game.
Let me make the touchdown, coach.
His deal. Goal line is out through open door. Go.
Don't worry, we'll win.
And Bullwinkle took off, not realizing that he was heading outside the house where Natasha, dressed as a cheerleader, waited with a camera. Will Bullwinkle score but lose his inheritance? The answer lies in 50 cents lost or get that half back.
Oh, dear.
What's the trouble, Bullwinkle?
I can't get any newspapers to run stories about the fan club.
Why don't we publish our own newspaper then?
That's it, Rock.
Did I hear newspaper? Permit me to introducing myself. William Randolph Hearst.
William Randolph Hearst?
That's my pen name. I used to write obituary column. Later, I won Pulitzer Prize.
Oh, Beth.
What do we name the paper?
How about the Bullwinkle and Rocky Fan Club Weekly Gazette and Star Express?
Well, that takes care of the front page.
He's right, Bullwinkle. Why don't we just call it the news?
That's catchy.
I didn't know you knew how to type, Bullwinkle.
Nothing to it.
Clee booty ferglers up, quirty eagle?
Of course, that's just the first draft.
Look, Chief, hot scoops. Mysterious bomber demolishes warehouse. Mad fiend burns old folks' home.
Express train derailed. Great reporting, Boris. When did these happen?
Anytime now. I'm working on it. Rocky, Bullwinkle, I just got some ads for the paper.
Gee, that's great, Captain. How much money did you take in?
Take in? You mean they're supposed to pay us?
Well, staff, here's our first edition. Now, what are we going to do about circulation?
We could rub our hands together. That might help.
What we need is a good, hard-working, ambitious sales manager.
That sounds just like you, Bullwinkle.
Well,
All those in favor of making Bullwinkle sales manager, say aye.
Aye! This isn't exactly what I had in mind.